Hello, Hurricanes. I'm Mr. Fernandez, one of our deans.
And I'm Ms. Pearson, the other dean.
And we're here to review some important parts of the Seminole County Public Schools Code of Conduct. Every year, the Code of Conduct is put out by Seminole County, and each student and parent should review and then return an acknowledgement card, which is signed and dated so that you've gone over it. It is online at www.scps.us under Parents, and then if you go to Policies, you'll be able to access it. Ms. Pearson and I will be, over the next couple of days, we'll be going over some of the finer points of it. If for some reason parents and students are unable to access it because you don't have Wi-Fi at home, please contact the school and we'll be more than happy to make those accommodations for you. The first thing we want to go over is the safety, security, and scope of authority. Maintaining a safe and secure environment is the primary priority of the Seminole Board of Seminole County School Board. It is the belief of the school board that all students have the right to attend school and school functions free of fear, harm, or harassment. The policies and procedures outlined in the Student Conduct and Discipline Code have been adopted in support of this functioning premise. Video cameras have been installed throughout the buildings of Seminole County Public School campuses. Students may be filmed and videotapes may be used to determine violations of the Student Conduct and Discipline Code. The Student Conduct and Discipline Code applies to all students enrolled in Seminole County Public Schools. The code is in effect on school board owned or controlled property and whenever students are under the official supervision of school board employees, included but not limited to field trips, extracurricular activities, and while being transported to and from such places either by the school bus, approved drivers, or other official means of conveyance. Student detention, search, and seizure is another subject we want to talk about. Except as otherwise permitted herein, students may be detained, searched, and property seized as permitted by School Board Policy 5771. The school board recognizes that the privacy of students or of their belongings may not be violated by unreasonable search and seizure and directs that no student be searched without reasonable suspicion or in an unreasonable manner. Now, students, this is when we talk about your responsibilities. The student responsibilities are outlined as fundamental responsibilities of the students who attend Seminole County Public Schools. Responsible students make the difference. Students are required to attend school regularly, treat others with respect, treat school property and the property of others with respect, respect the privacy of others, have in their possession only those items allowed by law and/or school board rules or policies, listen courteously to the opinions and points of views of others, come to class with all necessary materials and be prepared to learn, take advantage of their learning opportunities, report hazardous or dangerous situations to any adult in authority, report threats to do harm to any adult in authority, and submit original work. Seminole County Public Schools is committed to creating positive learning environments, promoting kindness between all individuals, and creating a safe community. These are your student rights. Students attending Seminole County Public Schools have the right to a free and appropriate education, which includes the right to equal educational opportunities without regard to race, national origin, gender, disability, or marital status. Students are also vested with other fundamental rights. Among those rights are a safe and orderly environment to which to learn, treatment with dignity and respect, reasonable expression of opinions and personal points of view, peaceable assembly, security in their personal privacy, limited access to their school records, notification of rules and conduct, reasonable and fair treatment. And I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Pearson so she can kind of start reviewing something that's really important, the Honor Code. Ms. Pearson?
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. In regards to the Honor Code, academic honesty and integrity are essential to the existence and integrity of an academic community. Without maintaining a high standard of honesty and conduct, the academic reputation of a school is compromised. Students of Seminole County Public Schools shall refrain from all forms of academic dishonesty, such as cheating, plagiarism, misuse of electronic communication, or other deceitful means of obtaining inflated grades. In addition to receiving all consequences listed below, students found in violation of the Honor Code may lose additional academic and extracurricular privileges. Tobacco violations and civil penalties. Florida Statute 569-12 authorizes school officials to be designated as tobacco product enforcement officers. and authorizes them to issue civil citations that are filed with the clerk of court for the Circuit Court of the 18th Judicial Circuit in Seminole County, Florida. Students found to be guilty of a tobacco violation are subject to penalties that include monetary fines, community service, and revocation of driving privileges, in addition to discipline sanctions as provided by this code. Student attendance. Make sure your mask is over your nose. Now, that's not in the code of conduct, but let's remember that. Right. Regular student attendance provides students the opportunity to acquire specific skills and meet course goals and objectives that may not be otherwise possible if not in attendance. Many integral learning activities, including class discussions, laboratory experiments, field trips, direct instruction, and guest speakers, cannot be simulated or replicated with bookwork. Therefore, the Seminole County Public Schools has adopted attendance policies for elementary, middle, and high school students to encourage honest, accurate, and consistent adherence by all students, parents, teachers, and administrators. These policies outline what qualifies an excused absence. Sorry, my mask is just not staying on while I talk, and provide guidelines for the makeup work for missed work due to an absence. Florida Statute 1003.21 establishes that regular school attendance is required of all students enrolled in public school. Administering student medications policy. Medication which is prescribed by a licensed healthcare provider with prescriptive authority may be administered to the student or self-administered by the student when permitted during the school day, including any occasion when the student is away from school property on official school business. Prescription, non-prescription, and over-the-counter medication must be administered in accordance with the district policy for administering medication to students. All medication to be administered by school personnel or self-administered by a student will require completion of the appropriate authorization form. Now back over to Mr. Fernandez for electronic resources access and control.
Great. This is a really something I really want you guys to pay attention to, because this has to do with electronic resources. This means school computers, anything that's school related, anything that's technology related, all your eCampus accounts and everything else. The Student Technology Acceptance Use and Safety Policy provides, among other things, the use of the district network, the internet, and other electronic resources relies heavily on the proper conduct of the users, and they must adhere to strict guidelines. If a student, that'd be you guys, user violates any of these provisions, his or her access to these accounts will be terminated and future access will be denied. In addition, appropriate disciplinary action will be taken, which may include suspension, expulsion, or referral to law enforcement. The use of the account must comply with the educational goals and policies of SCPS. Use of any other network or computer resources must be consistent with the rules appropriate to the network. This includes, but is not limited to, the laws and regulations regarding copyrighted material, threatening, obscene, or profane materials, materials protected by trade secret, and the following are prohibited: using anyone's account using any individual account or providing individual account information to someone else, including your friends. So don't give out your personal information and your personal passcodes to your friends. Use of the network for financial gain or political or commercial activity. The attempt to send or sending anonymous messages of any kind pretending to be somebody else while sending a message. Guys, just to let you know, they can figure out where these messages came from. So even though you're putting a different name on there, they can figure it out. So let's not put ourselves in a bad position. The attempt or actual action to destroy, modify, harm, or destroy any other person's data on an SCPS network, harassing, insulting, or attacking others via the network communication. Now, some of the privileges I want to talk about with this electronic use. The use of the electronic networks is a privilege. Inappropriate use will result in a cancellation of that privilege and the referral for disciplinary and possibly legal action. Administrators will decide if the usage is appropriate. Their decision will be final. And finally, security. When a student identifies a security problem, he or she must notify a teacher, media specialist, or system administrator immediately, and not show or identify the problem to others. The last thing I want to go over in today's session would be threats of violence. Students are prohibited from making direct or indirect threats of violence against individuals or groups. Any threats of such violence must be reported immediately. I can't stress that enough. When I say immediately, I mean immediately. It doesn't mean wait till the weekend is over. It doesn't mean wait till the next day. We want you to report those immediately to a teacher or staff or administrator. All threats of violence, which includes oral, written, electronic, or even symbolic. These will be reported to law enforcement and they'll be investigated by school officials. A student found to have made a threat of violence is subject to appropriate disciplinary consequences, up and to including suspension, expulsion, arrest, and persecution. And that brings an end to today's session of the Discipline Code of Conduct for Seminole County Public Schools. Ms. Pearson, is there anything you'd like to add before we sign off for today?
Don't forget to storm.